Her name was Amara, a young woman who had just started working as a live-in housekeeper in the luxurious home of a wealthy Nigerian-American businessman named Mr. Kwame Johnson. Or just Kwame as everyone called him. Amara had taken the job to support her mother back in rural Kaduna. "This will be your room, Amara," Mrs. Rosa said warmly as she opened the door to a small but cozy guest room on the second floor. Amara smiled politely and gave a respectful nod. "I want to support my mom back home in Nigeria," she said sincerely. "You'll mostly be dealing with Mr. Kwame and a few others. He's busy all the time, but he's kind as long as you do your job well." What she didn't expect was the flutter in her chest the moment she saw him. Rosa opened the sliding doors leading to the living room. And there he was, Kwame Johnson. A chiseled jawline that made him look like he had walked straight out of a Nollywood movie. He was focused intently on the laptop in his hands when Rosa called out to him. "Mr. Kwame, this is Amara, the new housekeeper I mentioned." Kwame looked up, his eyes meeting Amara's for the first time, and just like that, time seemed to slow down. Amara stood frozen, her heart thundering in her chest. Handsome, she thought, struggling to tear her eyes away. A small smile appeared on Kwame's lips. "Amara, huh?" he said. "Thank you so much for the opportunity to work here," she stammered, clearly nervous. Kwame scratched the back of his neck. "Just do your job right and we won't have any issues." "Yes, sir," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Relax," Kwame said. "I don't bite." Amara swallowed hard. From that day forward, Amara began secretly watching Kwame every time he walked past her. She couldn't help but admire his strong build and subtle charm. One evening, while cleaning the living room, Amara looked up to find Kwame watching her from the top of the staircase. There was something intense in the way he looked at her. Embarrassed, she quickly looked away, hiding the growing heat in her chest. "Amara," Kwame called out as he began descending the stairs. "Were you watching me just now?" he asked with an amused glint in his eyes. "Because I swear, I could feel your eyes on me for a while now." Amara almost dropped the broom out of embarrassment. Kwame shook his head and smiled. As he walked away, Amara felt her heart pounding in her chest. She whispered to herself, "Amara, this is wrong. You can't have feelings for your employer." But no matter how much she told herself it was forbidden, she couldn't help it. The glances, subtle smiles, small gestures that sent her heart racing every time. One evening, Amara was wiping down the coffee table when Kwame stumbled in through the front door. His eyes were red, his steps unsteady. "Amara," he muttered, approaching her. "Are you okay?" she asked, rushing to support him as he nearly tripped over the rug. "I'm just a mess, Amara. You know that," he whispered, slumping against her shoulder. "Let me help you to your room." "You need to rest," she said gently, unsure what he was rambling about. She let him lean on her, her arm wrapped firmly around his waist. "Stay," he said softly as she was about to leave. Before she could step away, Kwame grabbed her hand. "Just don't go yet," he said, his bloodshot eyes pleading. "Sir, why?" she asked in a trembling voice, trying to gently free her hand, but Kwame pulled her toward him, making her sit beside him on the bed. "Mr. Kwame, this isn't right." Before she could stand, Kwame suddenly kissed her softly, warmly, with a longing that took her breath away. Amara's eyes widened, but slowly, she began to respond, overwhelmed by the moment. "Just stay a little longer," Kwame murmured as he gently caressed Amara's cheek. "Sir, you don't know what you're doing," she whispered, her eyes closing as Kwame's hands found their way around her. She no longer knew what to do or how to stop what was happening. Her breath caught as she realized Kwame was now completely undressed. She swallowed hard, overwhelmed as he whispered, "You smell amazing." Amara gasped as he moved closer. She lost count of how many times they kissed, until finally, he whispered, "You feel incredible," before placing more kisses down her body. Her heart pounded with anticipation as she nodded, too consumed to say no. "Don't stop, sir," she whispered, surrendering fully. "Zuri, I love you," Kwame cried out with a gasp. Amara's eyes flew open. He said another woman's name. Kwame collapsed on top of her, unconscious. It was in that moment she realized he hadn't been thinking of her at all. The next morning, Amara woke up with a start. She whispered, trying to calm her panic. She remembered Kwame's drunken whispers and the name he called out. She couldn't shake the heavy feeling in her chest. She left Kwame's room quietly, only to find him downstairs drinking coffee as if nothing had happened. "You're up," Kwame said flatly, not even looking up. I want to talk to you." Amara began. Later, Kwame interrupted. Amara only nodded, a lump forming in her throat. Later that day, with heavy steps, Amara made her way to Kwame's office. She opened the door slowly. Kwame was seated behind his desk, eyes on a document. "Sit," he said coldly. Amara sat across from him, her chest tight with anxiety. "What did you want to tell me, sir?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Kwame finally set the paper down and looked at her, but there was no warmth in his eyes, only a steely gaze. "About last night," he began. Her heart started to race. "Was something wrong?" she asked, her voice cracking. "It wasn't your fault," he said abruptly. Amara met his gaze, trying to read what he was feeling. Kwame leaned back in his chair. "I'm engaged," he said. The words hit her like a punch to the chest. "I understand," she replied, her voice faint and shaky. "Her name is Zuri, she's been gone a long time." Amara couldn't stop shaking. "But sir, you don't have the right to ask about my personal life," she said. "I'm not," Kwame snapped. Then he continued, his voice cold but steady. "But I do have a proposal." Amara looked up, confused. "I'm offering you something," Kwame said plainly. Her heart stopped. Was this an offer to make her his physical outlet? Kwame nodded. "I need someone. I don't want to sleep around." Amara's hands tightened around the fabric of her dress. It would only break her, she thought. But her heart whispered something else. "Amara," Kwame said firmly. "I won't force you." Amara slowly lifted her gaze. "I'll do it," she said. She didn't know if it was the right choice, but if it meant losing herself, if it meant being close to Kwame, she would accept it. That night, Amara went to bed early, but sleep evaded her. Her thoughts were interrupted by the soft creak of her bedroom door. Her breath caught when she saw Kwame. "Sur?" she asked, unsure if she was more surprised or nervous. Kwame didn't respond. He sat at the edge of her bed, his eyes dark and serious. "There are rules before we start," he said plainly. "You only know what I choose to tell you. Second, don't fall in love with me." She swallowed hard. "If you're okay with that," Kwame said, locking eyes with her. Amara met his gaze. Despite the warning not to love, not to hope, she nodded, and that night, Kwame kissed her again. Yet, there was a strange ache inside Amara's heart. She didn't know how long she could go on like this, but as long as she could stay beside Kwame, she was willing to try. Moral of the story: this story serves as a powerful reminder that love without clarity becomes confusion, and affection without honesty leads to emotional slavery. Amara's journey is a cautionary tale of how deeply we can lose ourselves when we confuse desire for devotion, or allow someone else's brokenness to become our burden. Her vulnerability was exploited under the guise of need, and her heart was slowly traded for silence, secrecy, and conditional companionship. In her longing to be seen and valued, Amara accepted a love that came with rules, restrictions, and no promises, a love that demanded everything but offered little in return. She learned, painfully, that choosing someone who cannot choose you fully is the loneliest decision of all. True love is not built on secrecy, control, or desperation. It thrives on transparency, respect, and mutual care. And sometimes, walking away from what your heart wants is the most powerful act of self.